You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the weekly Keep Canada Weird discussion series. If you're new here, Keep Canada Weird is the venue in which my pal Aaron Airport and I seek out and explore the more offbeat Canadian news stories from the past week. In tonight's episode, which we recorded on the evening of August 13th, 2023, Aaron and I end up talking about TikTok far too much. We're going to learn about a Canadian social media personality named Lil Tay who may or may not be dead. We're going to talk about the TikTok trend of drinking Borax. We'll hear about some heart-shaped nonsense in Tofino, BC. And we'll choose sides in a hunger strike that just happened in Chilliwack. So let's get into it. Handsome Aaron Airport. This feels a little weird. We usually do this on Sunday night. It is not Sunday. It's Tuesday night when we do it now.
It felt like Sunday today. Today's my last day of vacation. I've been off for the past 3 weeks, so...
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I go back to work tomorrow, and then we were recording tonight too, so I was like, this is a total Sunday right now.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to talk about work or Sundays or what day it is. It's all irrelevant. People will be listening to this God knows when. So let's just get to the good stuff. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I was at the dentist today.
Oh, did you get a filling?
No, I just got a cleaning. Just polishing up the pearly whites.
Yeah, that's nice. So you feel great after that, but then you feel like such a scumbag when you like drink a coffee later in the day and or something. You know, like all that hard work.
Yeah, and then just flush down the toilet. That's all right.
As I sip a coffee.
I know, yeah.
Well, we're lucky to have dentists, right?
Oh, we're very lucky. Yeah, a lot of the mouth is the gateway to the rest of the body, so it's good to keep it in pristine condition.
Other than your dental visit, do you have any weird things going on? Anything you want to tell me about?
I have been deep diving into the Degrassi catalog.
Oh, like the original Degrassi Junior High?
Yeah, the whole original series. And it's all I've been doing in my, not all I've been doing, but whenever I have a couple hours, I'll sit down and plow through a ton of episodes.
Does it hold up well? I haven't seen it for years. I haven't seen an episode of it for probably 15 or 20 years. Does it hold up well?
Absolutely, it does. That was the question that I had too, because I watched, and for international listeners who aren't Canadian, Degrassi was a TV series that aired on Canadian television through the CBC, and it was about these kids growing up. It started following some of them on Degrassi Street, it was called, when they were kind of like in elementary school, and then a new series came out called Degrassi Junior High when them and a bunch of new characters were in junior high. And then Degrassi High comes out after that, following the same characters. And then after that, they made a movie called School's Out when they finally graduated. And it follows the same characters then. And then there's a whole series after that, like Degrassi Next Generation or New Generation, whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. And some of the characters are... So it's a whole universe that they built with these Canadian kids. It's a wicked show. It totally holds up. And I was impressed. It's even better than I thought it was, because I loved the show growing up. I loved.
Yeah, me too. We all did.
Yeah, we all did. It was a part of our childhood. So there was the nostalgia factor that I had, thinking and remembering the episodes, being like, oh my God, like all these characters that I used to know. And then I thought, going in to rewatch it, that it would just be for the nostalgia. That would be it. That the show would be corny and it would be low budget and not very good, but still entertaining because I grew up on it. But it's a solid show. Like, I was really impressed. Like, and it's surprisingly, it's really well written. The performances are great. Like, I'm blown away by it.
And cover some heavy topics. Did not a character like get AIDS? I think,
in Degrassi High, Dwayne. contracts HIV.
I remember that
Yeah.
being like a really heavy episode for it because that was geared towards kids. But maybe I'll check it out. You've inspired me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and that's early '90s. This show, these series, multiple series, play. The late '80s, early '90s is when they kind of are in their heyday, right? So, those topics that they cover, yeah, a lot of the things, I'm like, wow, they really push the envelope in this show.
Shout out to Degrassi.
Absolutely.
So you've been busy with that. I have something weird going on. I think I accidentally did my part to keep Canada weird. I don't know how much you know about this, but I use TikTok, but not in the way that I probably should. Generally on TikTok, I make what my wife calls like inside jokes with yourself, where it's like a dumb video or a dumb joke that it's almost like an inside joke, but really the only person who finds it amusing is me. And I made this series of videos for no good reason other than boredom. I was at Walmart, and one of those things were on the shopping cart where you got to put a quarter in to release the cart. You use the cart. When you bring it back, you lock it up, you get your quarter back. We've all seen those things. I just made this sarcastic video, kind of riffing on a lot of like the protests, maybe that I don't generally agree with or whatever. And I was pretending that I was really upset about this cart needing to have a quarter installed, and I was planning to protest the shopping cart practices that Walmart had. Hey everybody, I'm at Walmart on Mumford Road in Halifax, and I got bad news for you if you use shopping carts. It appears these things were just installed. Some type of gadget that requires you to pay $1 to use one of their carts. If anyone plans on protesting this, let me know, and I'd like to join the rally. And I just made that video as a joke. And for whatever reason, of everything I've ever done on social media, that video ended up going viral. It had like tens of thousands of views within like a day. Almost unanimously, the people in the comments didn't understand my sense of humor. They thought I was actually, planning to protest Walmart. So I kind of doubled down, and then I started to make a series of videos where I was talking about the protests, and I was referring to it as the free cart convoy and referring to like my army of supporters. I've heard from people from all across the world who are not going to take it from Walmart. And yeah, if you see my last post about this, I also heard from a lot of haters who had awful things to say about this movement, but they're more than welcome to counter protest. But before you decide to stand in front of the free cart convoy that will be crippling this parking lot Tuesday at 9 a.m., I take a long, hard look in the mirror and decide whose side of this you're going to be on. I even had a couple characters come on the series, like our friend Randy played the part of Rick, a school bus driver who was going to drive protesters to and from the protest site, which was the Walmart. Anyway, we did that for a while. I just kind of eventually got bored of it and just moved on. I thought it was done. I thought it was all behind me. And then just last week, completely unexpected, I got an email from some news site in the US asking if they could interview me and if I could give a comment on the protest at the Walmart. I didn't get a chance to respond right away because I didn't realize what they were writing me about. And then, sure enough, I Googled my name to be like, are they doing a story? And they did. I'm just going to... It's actually... It's crazy, but it's one of my life achievements. My proudest moments is this article. I want to read you just some of it. So the headline is, Walmart shopper complains about gadget attached to shopping cart. It backfires. And then their like subtitle is, Jesus, man, you get your dollar back. Because what I did, like in my video complaining, I made it act as if I thought I had to pay for the cart, not that I would get the quarter back when I returned the cart. That was like a part of the joke. So whenever someone would comment like, you're such a fool, you get your loony back or quarter back, I would make a point to not understand what they're saying and continue to like, it just sound like an idiot. But anyway, I'm going to read you some of it. It says, a Walmart shopper in Canada was outraged to discover a gadget that supposedly charged customers $1 to use a shopping cart. But according to other shoppers, it wasn't quite what it seemed. The TikTok video alerting Walmart consumers to the development came from Jordan Bonaparte. It was posted to the platform on May 19th and gained attention in the form of more than 200,000 views since going up. He starts by identifying a particular store in Halifax and says, I got bad news for you, Walmart. He then notes that Walmart installed a gadget on the shopping carts in the stores that require you to pay $1 to use one of their carts. He then proposed, if anyone plans on protesting this, let me know and I will join your rally. Commenters came in to add to the narrative. Good God, man, you get your dollar back, FFS, one remarked. Jesus, you get your dollar back, another said. That comment spurred Bonaparte into action. He declared in a response, and they will get their parking lot back when they remove these satanic devices. We're protesting Tuesday at 9 a.m. sharp. But no, really, said others. You get the dollar back when you return the cart.
No, really, you get the dollar back.
Another noted, do you not shop at No Frills? It makes people take the cart back at the corral. Bonaparte responded by saying, I'm banned from the 2 No Frills in my area. And even if they unbanned me, I wouldn't go back. I'm better than that. I'm not going crawling back to No Frills. So they're like quoting me through like the snarky comments I wrote to the random people.
Yeah.
Eventually, they go on to further criticize me, saying like it didn't seem like his rally really took any speed, but that doesn't matter. I think it was a huge win. I'm so proud of that.
Oh man.
I sent it to my mom. She was quite embarrassed.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and I've been sleeping downstairs in the basement the last few nights. Wife is not cool with this kind of attention.
So this kind of like makes me think like some of the stories that we cover on this show, and it makes me wonder like how many of them were jokes that just some news agency just ended up covering. And then we caught wind of the story and be like, this is crazy. We cover the story on the show. And
it is a little meta. And it really, the reason I told that story is not because I wanted to talk about my personal life, because I guess that is personal life. It's because it really plays into the stories we're going to discuss tonight. Because tonight, when I sat down with the intention of keeping Canada weird by way of seeking out and exploring and discussing with you the weird, offbeat, and unusual stories that played out in our great nation over this past week, what I stumbled upon was a series of stories that relate to social media, specifically to TikTok. And I guess mine kind of plays right into it. So I ended up in the center of this episode. But what we're going to be talking to tonight, we're going to hear about Lil Tay, and I guess we're going to question if she's actually dead. We're going to hear about some heart-shaped nonsense that played out on TikTok. We're going to hear about why maybe you shouldn't be eating borax the way it has been advertised on TikTok. And we're going to hear about a hunger strike in Chilliwack, BC. Are you sitting down? Because this is a wild one.
I am sitting down. I always sit down.
Perfect. Let's just jump right into it. We do have listener mail, but let's save that for the back end of this episode. I'm too excited. I want to get into these stories.
Okay.
But which story? Where do you want to start with this?
Oh, there's a lot to consider there. Let's start with Lil Tay.
Lil Tay. L-I-L.
I prefer Little.
Little Tay. That's what her parents call her. Do you know, before I sent you this
Tiny
article...
Tay. That's, instead of Tiny Tim, it'd be Tiny Tay.
Tiny Tay. Do you know anything about Lil Tay?
I knew nothing about Little Tay.
Okay.
I still say Little. You're saying Little now too?
Little Tay is, I guess, like something between like rapper, social media influencer, social media like character / personality. Something like that. But what she does is this sort of version of like sort of gangster rap lifestyle kind of videos. She's described as an American-born but Canadian internet personality and rapper. In 2018, while claiming to be only 9 years old, she gained prominence online for a period of 3 months, proclaiming herself to be the youngest flexer of the century.
Lil Tay out here balling in the IA. I dropped 200 racks on this car, and I'm only 9 years old. I got the keys to this car.
Tay gained a reputation for insulting her viewers while boasting about her wealth. Her videos were criticized publicly by rapper Snoop Doggy Dogg, who noted that she needed to be in school learning how to be a little girl, not a dumb grown person. So she's kind of like if you watch a Lil Tay video, you're going to say like, oh my God, the youth of today are beyond repair. She comes across as like she'll be outside outside of like a super fancy car. She'll have a big stack of bills and she'll be just cursing at the camera. But she's just this like, looks just like this little girl. Anyway, but then she just kind of disappeared until a few days ago, just last week. Surprise announcement. Her social media account issued a statement declaring announcing the death of Lil Tay. And this made big news. I'm going to play you a CTV video where they share the news of Lil Tay's passing.
BC's social media star who gained millions of followers under the name Lil Tay has died. The Vancouver area teen, whose real name was reportedly Claire Hope, became an Instagram sensation in 2018, boasting about her wealth. She was only 9 years old at the time. A post on her Instagram account today describes her death as entirely unexpected. The post says, "It is with a heavy heart that we share the devastating news of our beloved Claire's sudden and tragic passing." Adding, "Claire will forever remain in our hearts." The post mentions her brother also died and that both deaths are under investigation.
So short and sweet news report there. Basically a Canadian news. I think most major Canadian news sites covered it in that way. They read a section of the announcement on her social media, briefly summarized her life, and ended it with, it's under investigation. A lot of people online, I kind of tuned into the conversation, and a lot of people were speculating it was a murder-suicide. I heard people speculating it was the result of a car accident where either Lil Tay, or her brother were dying. Needless to say, people took it very seriously, but only for a short period of time. A couple other statements came out from her ex-manager that seemed to cast some doubt on what was actually going on, if Tay was actually dead. Although the claim of her death, other than just being a social media post, was now supported by like mainstream press all across Canada and the US were reporting on this. So of course people believed it. And then another social media account popped up in which Lil Tay claimed, "I had to set up this new account because my other one got hacked." Long story short, over a short period of time, the truth surfaced. And here's how that was shared. Listen to this.
Social media personality Lil Tay is alive and speaking out, claiming her Instagram account was compromised and used to spread jarring misinformation about her and her brother's alleged deaths. Tay opened up to TMZ Thursday, saying she wants to make it clear that she and her brother are safe and alive, but she's completely heartbroken and struggling to even find the right words to say. It's been a very traumatizing 24 hours. All day yesterday, I was bombarded with endless, heartbreaking, and tearful phone calls from loved ones, all while trying to sort out this mess. Now, the 14-year-old influencer claims her account was taken over by a third party, who she says even got her name wrong, calling her Claire Hope when she says her legal name is Tay Tien.
Lil Tay out here on the top of Beverly Hills. I run this beat. Who do you see doing it like Lil Tay? I'm the youngest one doing it. I run LA.
What a mess. What do you make of this chaos? I don't even know what to think.
There's a lot of angles here to approach this. Is she playing a character? Like what's the story here? Is she is this like Borat or something where she's just like a regular little girl, but she's got this character that she does on Instagram and that's that? Like, what's the deal?
So when you say there's a few angles you want to approach, so the first angle is just going to be what the heck's up with Lil Tay.
Let's start at the beginning. Who is
So
Tiny
I don't know.
Tay?
I would like there's money to be made on these sites by gaining a following, and one way to gain a following is to just do outrageous stuff. So I could see if she was being supported by like either older friends or siblings or parents who were kind of coaching her and helping her grow this character and play this character. If that's the case, I kind of enjoy it. I think it's kind of wild if that's what's actually happening. If it's legit and it's not a character, then it's sad, I guess. And it's a statement for our society.
I think either way, it's a dangerous game. Like if it is her family and her, older siblings or whatever it is supporting her in this character, and she's not really like this, but they're delivering it in a way where they're blurring the lines quite a bit between what's real and what's not. And when you're 9, 10 years old, that can be a really challenging balancing act to achieve. So I think it's not good either way. I don't think that like if she is playing a character, I think that again that's thin ice that they're skating on there with a child. And if this is what the child's like and she's free to be this way to the world on Instagram, that's
then take her damn phone.
Then what are you checking what your kid is up to at all, and how they're portraying themselves online, and even if it is a character, the audience doesn't know that exactly, and there becomes a certain point in time where the performer, the child, is probably going to get lost in that too, because the bigger that character grows, the more complicated it will become for this child to separate her normal life from the character's life, because everything is so gray and it's not so black and white.
Okay. So that is our discussion surrounding who Lil Tay is, and if what we make of this kind of either art form or lifestyle. Now, what about the death announcement? Do you think, like, Meta, the owner of Facebook and Instagram, has issued a statement saying this was in fact a hack job, and we helped her, reclaim her accounts and stuff. So that seems to have some legitimacy to the idea that she was hacked and someone was just screwing around. But at the same time, given the character of Lil Tay, if it is a character, and all the things that have happened, it doesn't seem far out of reach to be like, we're gonna fake a death. We'll be on CNN.
Well, this is again part of the problem. If it is a character, and then no one really knows where the performer ends and the character begins, so then a death announcement is made through a hacked account, whatever the situation was, and then actual people in this child's life think she's dead. And then she talks about how disturbing this was, and how emotional it was, and all of these things. It's like, well, you probably shouldn't be doing whatever it is that you're doing. This seems really unhealthy to me. Like, seems so twisted, the whole thing, no matter what angle they're coming from.
There is a trail that has been blazed, though, for this sort of character and monetizing this sort of character. Do you remember I don't know her name, but there was a young girl who was on the Dr. Phil show. Her parents brought her on the show because she misbehaved. And she was like a rapper, and she did she
Catch
not
Me
like
Outside,
challenge
that one?
She kind of like challenged Dr. Phil to like a fight or something. She ended up going on to becoming a huge successful social media musician type, and is now worth millions of dollars. Coincidentally, Lil Tay, a part of her fame came when she got in an online feud with that girl from the Dr. Phil show. And I think there's a video of them like getting in a fight outside of a hotel or something. So there is kind of some connections there. And I feel like Lil Tay may just be like version 2.0, or maybe the Canadian version of that other person who may or may not be playing a character as well. So long story short, who knows where the truth is? The only people who probably know are the people at the center of these stories themselves. But calling back to what I talked about earlier, there was a lot of people who thought that that me and our friend Randy were protesting Walmart, and they believed it and chimed in. So maybe she's just, doing the same kind of weird LARPy craziness. But yeah, it's definitely more extreme. And I think, the death announcement is crazy. It's also, there's something to be said about the fact that mainstream media just covered it as if it was fact.
Just covered it, as if it was real. And it's this giant of social media that is just, it's allowing people with no ability or talent or anything to contribute artistically to the world, to be able to come on and do this kind of thing, and it snowballs, and then all of a sudden this money starts coming in, people start reacting to it in a certain way, and it just gets out of control. And I think it's one thing when you're an adult doing it, like, if you're doing fake protests,
a 40-year-old man protesting Walmart with your son.
That's one thing. But when you have a child doing it, or a family, kind of parents that are letting their child kind of do this, I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me. And I think everybody needs to take a step back here and think about what the long-term effects of this mentally and emotionally it's going to be for someone who's developing at a very young age. Like, come on, like, this is gross.
You want to know what else is gross? There's another trend going on social media right now. It seems to be primarily a TikTok trend, and we've talked about these kind of dangerous, nonsensical trends in the past. There's a new one. I think when I think back at the last one we talked about, of course, there was the thing where what was it? There was some challenge.
The Tide Pods, or
no, it was cooking. The challenge we talked about on the show, where people cooking chicken in cough syrup. It was like they would bathe their chicken in this like green.
Oh
minty
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I vaguely remember it now.
This is like a year ago.
That's a while ago.
It was the NyQuil chicken. That's what it was.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But anyway. But I'm always interested when I see these weird kind of fads go across social media and trick people into doing dangerous things. The latest one is what people are calling the Borax diet, or the Borax vitamin supplement.
Yeah.
I use Borax to kill ants in my yard. But let me play you a news clip that describes how some foolish people are using Borax on social media. Listen to this.
From biting down on a Tide Pod to chugging a blackout rage gallon, TikTok has a new trend in town.
I hopped on the Borax train.
I jumped on the Borax train.
I have officially jumped on the Borax train.
People jumping on the Borax bandwagon by adding the chemical compound to their water to create a Borax beverage. It's often used as a laundry detergent, but now TikTok users are saying Borax can help with a range of health issues, like relieving joint and muscle pain.
It's a powerhouse anti-inflammatory.
But an associate professor of environmental toxicology at the University of Guelph says, not so fast.
The issue with Borax is that it also is going to expose the person to boric acid. Now, boric acid, there are small amounts in our food, and that's not a big deal, but we don't want to increase our exposure to boric acid because it can have adverse effects.
He says the messaging mix-up may have happened because the mineral boron has benefits in healthy doses and comes from borax, but not with how it's being consumed online.
You could damage your kidneys, you could damage your liver. There's different organs, right? Depending on how much you're consuming, it could be detrimental to your digestive tract.
But as the trend of consuming the chemical continues to gain traction,
Go check it out.
The messaging from experts is clear. While the insides of your washing machine can handle borax, your insides can't.
I'm speechless. Well, I'm not speechless. I won't even say I'm disappointed or surprised. People are crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a point of view on this, and it might shock you.
Oh no, you're on the Borax train?
I fully support people drinking borax.
Okay, keep talking.
Okay, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
So we're in a very complicated part or chapter in human history.
Okay.
So right now we have, excuse me, I just had some borax. Right now we have global warming has now become global boiling, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So our planet, we are not long for this planet much longer. We have to make a decision in the next, sooner than we hope that we will have to leave this planet and find another planet that's more, conducive to us. because we're at global boiling, and the Earth is going to no longer allow us to live here. We won't be able to stand the extreme weather, the extreme heat, all of these things. So we have to only take so many of us. There's only so many of us that can go to the new planet where we're all going to live. And we have to choose who these people are that are going to go. So the best way in the next 20, 30, 40 years of us to choose who is the best to go is to have the people who are drinking borax can't go. So it makes the choice easier because they'll be dead from drinking borax. People who are drinking and eating laundry detergent and all of these crazy social, I think it's all part of the natural selection and the natural course of human evolution for us to get rid of the ones that we don't want to bring with us to the new planet.
That's interesting because natural selection, it involved like a living thing being able to compete with other living things in a kind of natural wild world. But now humans, as the apex predator, I guess, we run the planet. We have high technology that pretty much has eliminated all predators we would have naturally had. We are now on the internet, but it's almost like our new predator is ourselves, but more so maybe our own stupidity.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, that was an interesting way to look at that. But yeah, I can understand your point of view. But I think as a humanitarian, as I'm known as widely, I don't want people to drink borax and boric acid. I think when the time comes that we're leaving to go to another planet, I think we just need to find a way to leave no man behind, even if the person we're carrying along
we won't
is
be able to
sick
take
from
everybody,
borax.
though. We won't be able to take everybody. And this is an easy way for us to decide because whoever's left from not drinking laundry detergent gets to go. But the people who were drinking laundry detergent, they can't go. They're dead by the time the mothership is ready.
That's a good point. Well, I'll tell you, people drinking borax aren't the only idiots on TikTok. There's another set of idiots, a much smaller subset. But this specific set that we're going to talk about is Canadian, of course. I want to tell you the story of the heart-shaped nonsense that just played out in Tofino, BC. This is a bit of a sad one. Listen to this story. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Tofino is where tourists usually come and learn to surf. But a recent social media stunt has caught one couple in a wave of criticism.
I was appalled.
This video, first posted to Ashley Smith's TikTok account, shows a couple on Chesterman Beach with a caption that reads, "He wanted to do something cute to show how much he loves me. And then he did this. When the heart-shaped paper towel soaked in gasoline is ignited, the flames spread."
I gotta kick it out.
But things were only just heating up.
You're listening to Tough City Radio for which
phone calls started flooding the local radio station, the community expressing their outrage.
This particular thing, because of the nature of it and how it actually affected nature, really upset a lot of people.
Poor timing, poor judgment, tone deaf.
It's a bit irresponsible.
I think we all have to be careful, and I think it's quite entitled, to be honest.
Not to mention incredibly dangerous. Tofino is facing level 3 drought conditions and under a total fire ban. On top of that, it's been dealing with more than 2 months of ongoing road closures along Highway 4 after the Cameron Bluffs wildfire ripped through the area, destabilizing the slope.
How can anyone think this is okay?
BC Wildfire Service confirmed it is aware of this latest incident, taking the opportunity to remind everyone to be careful.
No open fires whatsoever. Think about if there's a potential to start a fire. Any heat source in the coming week is going to have that potential.
The couple couldn't take the heat. Smith did not respond to our request for comment, and the video has since been deleted from her account with more than 21,000 followers. Instead, what appears to be an apology video has been posted to her partner's account, captioning, "We just wanted to make a cute video to show our love."
This is not cute.
It looks like it's going to take more than that to win the hearts of those who call Tofino home.
If you're going to call yourself an influencer, if there's a chance someone's going to repeat it, that consequence is on you.
Kelly Stanton, Global News.
Just want to describe the video for people who are listening because I think everything about this story is stupid, but the video at the heart of it is also stupid. It's a couple on a beach, and on the screen it says like, you know, he wanted to do something special or something, and then he did this. They're standing on the beach, and there's like paper towels spread out in the shape of a giant heart, and we now know from that article that paper towel was soaked in gasoline. But he lights it on fire, and then they like hug and kiss in the center of this burning heart. But it's not as romantic as it sounds, because it's like a bunch of paper towels soaked in gas, so there's like thick black smoke coming off it. They must have been gagging and choking, and oh man. And then they do this in the middle of a drought and all this other stuff. So I'm not surprised they got some hate coming their way, which they couldn't stand, so they pulled the video.
Yeah, it looks like they're falling in love in the fiery depths of hell is what the video looks like.
It does.
You know, like, you don't have to prove to the world that you're in love. You don't have to do that at all. You can just be in love. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and then the other thing is like, if he wants to do something sweet for her, I feel like the whole like setting up a tripod and filming the video, like quick hit play or hit record, I'm going to do something sweet. That kind of takes a lot of the sweetness out of it, right? That's like, guys, watch this. I'm gonna, do something awesome for my wife. My wife's gonna be like, why would you?
Yeah, it's not as it doesn't feel as spontaneous when it's.
Well, it's also very much like, look at what I did. That was so nice. Look at how amazing I am, or something. I hate everything about it.
Yeah, the whole thing, it's all about self-admiration and getting likes and shares on the internet, and it's so gross. But it's like, you don't have, like, if you love each other, who cares if the rest of the world knows it? What does it matter? Like, why do you have to go on TikTok with some ridiculous stunt and show your love this way? It's don't go on the internet at all. Just support each other. Don't cheat on each other. Just be there for each other and grow old together, and then die together. And you'll have a little gravestones next to each other in the graveyard, and your kids will put flowers on your graves and talk about how much you guys loved each other, and the proof will be in the pudding, man. You don't have to set yourself on fire.
Wow. But this isn't a big far step removed from the whole stupid Borax thing. This is just another nonsensical social media thing.
It's just to get attention. It has nothing to do with how
This
much
planet.
they love each other. And it's like, yeah, the new planet won't have social media. There'll be no TikTok. There'll be no internet. We'll be starting from complete scratch.
There will be no teenagers, and there'll be no animals.
Well, we need animals. We need to eat.
Oh shit. Yeah. Okay.
We got to
We're gonna have
figure
deal
out a
with that.
way on the new planet to have animals. Well, we'll be growing. I think by that point in time, we'll be growing our meat in labs. So we'll have a lab up there that will grow the meat, and we can have animals for nice reasons and live alongside the animals and not be their masters, or they be our masters.
I like it.
Yeah, so I think that'll be nice. The new planet, it's going to be really nice. It's going to be very almost like going back to a time when you grew your own food and you only knew your neighbors and you don't know what's going on in the rest of the planet. It won't matter. It'll just be a little colony of us, that the ones that didn't drink borax and
Or set ourselves on fire.
or
at the
set
beach.
ourselves on fire. Yeah. There'll be no love up there. Nobody is allowed to fall in love on the new planet. Because
Or if they fall in love, they just have to go off to like a separate part of the planet where they can just be alone together and love, and no one else
love
needs to hear
and
about
all
it.
and light fires. But our side of the planet, I think they need to go to a whole other planet, planet love, and then that's anyone who wants to be in love goes to that planet. And we're in planet just eating vegetables and
Singles.
and hanging
It's a
out.
swingers planet.
No, we don't swing.
Oh, because we're not.
We're non-sexual. We don't do anything sexual on this planet.
Okay. All right. We may have to go back to the drawing board on this idea, but I like where you're going with it. Let's move on. Let's get back to this planet Earth, specifically this country, Canada. We talked about a lot of stupidness happening on social media, from my shopping cart thing to Lil Tay's death to the heart-shaped nonsense in Tofino to the people drinking Borax. The next story is someone who is at least trying to use social media to empower themselves, to defend themselves, to stand up against the mean city of Chilliwack. This is our first hunger strike story in the history of Keep Canada Weird, and I just want to put it out there now that if there is ever a hunger strike in Canada by anybody for any reason, we'll cover it on this show. I'm interested in
Whoa. We need to filter out the reasons. We can't have someone hunger striking for any reason. And
if they're going to hunger strike, I think you owe it to them to, well, I guess, yeah, there's probably some reasons.
There are some reasons that someone could hunger strike that are not reasons that you want to
I'm going to
promote.
I'm going to pull that back.
Yeah,
we'll cover almost every hunger strike.
Any reasonable hunger strike will cover it. Yeah.
The hunger strike we're going to cover tonight, this is a roller coaster. This is the story of Rajneesh and Harpreet Dewan. They've been complaining to the city of Chilliwack about the noise coming from a pickleball court that was recently, like in the last several years, built just footsteps from their back door. The complaining against the city of Chilliwack got them nowhere, so they raised the stakes. They started a damn hunger strike. Listen, over a pickleball court. Listen to this.
Yeah, pickles.
I like that quietness. I like it forever.
It's rarely quiet on the pickleball courts right behind Rajneesh and Harpreet Dewan's Chilliwack home.
It's really very, very high-pitched noise because it's the paddle. They have a fiberglass paddle. When it hits the ball, it is very annoying.
For large parts of the day, the couple is forced to endure the constant smack of pickleball hitting paddle on these city courts.
Have you heard of a torture technique when a drop of water is put on your forehead once, twice, and then every day consistently? It's like that. You are being subjected to this high decibel sound. We have a recording. It goes up to 85 decibels from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed.
The Dewans were not consulted when the city built the pickleball courts just steps from their property line in 2019.
I love noises, I love people, I love children playing, but I never signed it for this kind of nuisance and such kind of a noise.
I feel for both sides of this because the city was trying to do something to accommodate all of the hundreds of pickleball players in Chilliwack. And I also can feel for those people because it would be annoying to have that noise all day long, every day outside your house.
The couple says the noise got even worse when the courts were resurfaced in 2021, and this black sound barrier recently installed by the city does nothing.
All the studies show that no sound mitigation efforts work if the pickleball courts are less than 65 meters. So this is just 5 meters.
The city tells CTV News when a new indoor pickleball facility is completed in 2024, these courts will be closed. But the Dewans say they can't wait that long.
This is not noise, this is torture. This has affected my mental, physical health.
So on Sunday, they're planning a sit-in and hunger strike.
And we will sit there on the courts, and I will forsake all food.
They vow to stay on the courts until the mayor agrees to close them and peace and quiet is restored to their home.
Okay. I can understand one side of this is the sound of a pickleball court next to your house would be brutal. Just like whoop-pow, whoop-pow, whoop-pow. And there's several courts, so it would be like whoop-pow, 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 whoop-pow. Like
and
all
it's not
day.
just that, it's the people playing it like, oh, yeah, like screaming. You know, you're going to be screaming the whole time you're playing pickleball.
It would drive you nuts.
Yeah.
And I get it. And the man and the wife in that clip, like they come off a little crazy. Like, I will forsake all food. And, you know, going on a hunger strike does come across as a little unhinged. But I do get their point. I think if it was me,
yeah.
I'd be so upset and I'd be cursing that pickleball court. But what do you think of this? Think they're going too far?
No, I think they are going in the right direction, and I think they need to get as extreme as they need to get this pickleball court placed somewhere else, somewhere that's not too close to any residential housing.
Here's the thing, though, is their home in their back step abuts a park, like a walking park. You know, people are doing recreational stuff. So I think if you're the city, you're like, you're living by that. So you get to benefit from it by having it next to you. It probably increases property value, but you got to take the good with the bad. And the bad side of that is there's noise. And it just so happens.
It doesn't increase your property value if it's noisy.
Yeah,
like park noise is one thing, but pickleball courts right next to your back door is a whole other ball game. So if that kind of noise is going on, your property value is going down. No one's going to want to buy your house.
Yeah. Do you think the city should have thought about that when they put the pickleball court there? Like, whether it's pickleball or tennis courts or basketball courts, maybe try to have that in like the center of the park, so it's not so close to someone's home. Because of course, it's going to drive people nuts.
Well, whenever you need to do something to your property, like build something or make changes, like you have to go through a lot of red tape with the city, with the municipality, in terms of zoning and in terms of what's allowed to go where and how big is it, and does it infringe on other properties, and does it infringe on the neighborhood for sound and sight. Like there's all the number of reasons why you may or may not be allowed to build something on your property. And this should be the same thing. So when the city is considering building a pickleball court on a piece of land that they own that's currently functioning as a park, they need to consider what's around the park, what kind of disturbance is this court going to cause if we build it here. There are people who live right next to it. Yeah, they should have considered it, and because that's horrible to live next to, that sound constantly. It'd be brutal. Or they should at least put in scheduled time so that it's not all day, all night, like it sounds like it is now.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like so far the only thing the city did to help was they hung some kind of like black tarp up, but in the news clip, if you're listening to it, you didn't really they didn't explain this well, but his patio is like a little bit high up, so the black tarp is like low, so the sound is like it's not helping at all, hence his hunger strike. But let's have a little update here. This happened last week. I will give you the spoiler. The hunger strike only lasted a little over a day. Really? Here's how the story ends.
A Chilliwack man protesting the noise of a pickleball court near his house has ended his hunger strike. Rajnish Dewan started his strike on Sunday, frustrated by the constant noise beside his property. He told Global News that the racket had not stopped since the sport gained popularity last year. The courts were first installed in Portage Park in 2019. After 50 hours with no food, he says progress has been made and the strike is over. Dewan says people have a better understanding about his experience with the noise since speaking out.
Initially, people thought that I was being, just trivial, just complaining about people playing pickleball. But as we went into day 1, day 2, and finally into day 3, we saw a shift in momentum in terms of people really understanding. People came from different parts of Chilliwack, especially on Monday, to support us, to, say words of love to us. And the online hate went down a little bit.
Dewan says he's been invited to a meeting with city staff to address his concerns about the noise.
So it sounds like the end is the city is going to meet with him, and other people seem to understand that it's not this trivial complaint. Although you and I think the two of us are on the same page. We're like, yeah, we're on his side of this. I see his point. A meeting with the city, I think maybe he'll get something, but maybe they just want to get him off the court or get him away from the courts from his hunger strike and get his signs down, because he had a couple signs up. Looking at the lay of the land there, during some of the news clips we had just watched together, you could get a sense of where the court was versus his home.
Yeah, they had a nice aerial shot there, like a drone shot of how close it really is.
Yeah, and it is super. It's just feet away. I think the solution is easy. I think the city should pay to get some trees put in, between the court and his house, so that way the foliage, like the leaves and stuff from the trees, will deaden the sound. Like, that is the solution. Like, if you live near a busy street, people will like grow a hedge. That takes a long time though to grow a hedge that's high enough to do this job. I think the city should just pay the money and put a couple trees in there. It'll put some shade on the courts, which will be nice for the players. It'll probably add longevity to the asphalt and the paint and stuff on the court, and it will solve his problem.
Yeah, but I think there's a direct correlation between the rise in borax drinkers and the rise in popularity with pickleball. So I do have a theory that a lot of people who play pickleball are also TikTok borax drinkers. So I think in the next several months, a lot of these pickleball players are going to be dead.
The problem's going to solve itself.
The problem's going to solve itself.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's no pickleball on the new planet.
Okay. But like he said, he doesn't have a problem with pickleball or the people playing pickleball or the usage of this park. His complaint, and I agree with him, is simply with where the city of Chilliwack decided to put the pickleball court next to his damn house. We'll see where this situation goes. I'm going to follow this he's going to meet with the city. We'll see what happens, but something's got to give. I think it's not fair.
In the meantime, we blame all pickleball owners or pickleball players. We blame them all. It's all their faults, even pickleball players in different parts of the country.
So tonight we went through a whole lot of stories that relate to social media in various ways. They were weird. They were Canadian. It was great. But now we got to get to our main course. You and I really enjoy listener mail, right?
Oh, it's my favorite.
I love it.
I love it.
Often we've been doing it at the beginning. I think I want to start doing it at the end. That will allow us.
I kind of like when it sprinkles throughout the show. But
yeah, that works when. Yeah, that works sometimes. But I think tonight it wouldn't have worked because we got 3 pieces of mail that all relate to the same topic.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And do you know what the main topic is?
I don't know. Tim Hortons?
No. Try again.
The animal uprising.
And hail.
And oh,
you never would have guessed. I gave that one up.
Yeah.
We had a few stories that related to hail. And of course, we over the last few episodes. And of course, we talk about the animal uprising a lot. So it's no surprise that in this week's listener mail segment, we have a collection of listener mail items relating to hail and the animal uprising and this show. 2 of them are voice memos. One of them is old school mail. Or no, it wasn't. Sorry. And one of them was
an email.
Let's start with the email and then we'll get to the voices. This is from Claire. Hey, charismatic Jordan. And then in whatever brackets they write, if Aaron gets a description, you should too. So it says, hey, charismatic Jordan and handsome Aaron. First of all, I don't see myself as charismatic.
Well, talk to her. I don't know. She's the one that stamped you with that. Okay. So
listen to this, though. I have a story from Tasmania about my conversion to supporting the animal uprising theory. It would have been a year or so ago. I was walking home with my 9-year-old daughter. Along the way, we passed by a small patch of pine trees that overhang the footpath. In our area, there are flocks of cockatoos, which are very intelligent and creative birds. They have very dexterous, I think. Dexterous beaks, which are excellent at manipulating their environment to their needs. This particular day, we were blessed by our cockatoo overlords with a gift of a pine cone, which they had placed at our feet from the heights at which they rightly abide. We were most humbled by this recognition, and now give our cockatoo masters regular offerings, which they accept or not, as is their right. Stay weird, Claire. First of all, that is the most eloquent message I've ever read. I can't even read it because it's too well written.
Yeah, it's a little complicated.
Let me take one more stab at it.
Hey, no, just move on.
Okay. So, first of all, Claire, I'm sorry for butchering your email. I think it's a cockatoo? Cockatoo? I don't know what that is.
It's best not to shine a spotlight on what we don't know.
Okay.
I think from this email. I want to answer you, but I'm not 100% sure myself.
Okay.
So it just makes both of us look like complete
Yeah,
idiots.
let's not do that.
Never write in again.
No,
That's what we'll tell her.
I want Claire to write in. So let's talk about some things we don't know. I don't know what a cockatoo or cuckatoo or whatever it is. Do you know anything about Tasmania?
All I think about is a Tasmanian devil. That's all I can think about.
What I'd be curious about is how Claire in Tasmania found us and found our show. I'm very glad that they did. And I love this story about this. What to me, in my mind, I'm thinking it's like some kind of like a magical version of a crow or something. Claire describes it as a very intelligent and creative bird with dexterous beaks, which means like beaks that can move around in a lot of different ways, which are excellent at manipulating their environment to their needs. So this amazing bird takes pine cones and leaves them on the footpath. Also, how awesome is it to call, like, here we are in the crappy east coast of Canada. We have like sidewalks. They have footpaths.
That's
nice.
In Tasmania.
Wow, it sounds like a magical place, like
it's luxurious.
The Emerald City in Tasmania. And I really enjoy this closing line. We were most humbled by this recognition and now give our cockatoo masters regular offerings, which they accept or not, as is their right.
Or not, as is their right.
That's amazing. We call that a turn of phrase. That's an amazing turn of phrase. I love that letter.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear. I don't know, like they don't sound like they're aggressive towards the humans there, the cockatoos.
I think
sounds like they have a pleasant exchange with them.
Yeah, I think they maybe see humans as pets or something. And Tasmania.
Yeah, maybe it's a trust. They're trying to gain some trust. Have the humans let their guard down in that area, and then they'll pounce when the moment is right.
I'm looking here. Tasmania is an island state of Australia, so that's a part of Australia.
Australia.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't either.
240 kilometers to the south of the Australian mainland. So it's kind of like maybe it's like the Cape Breton of Australia, because we also are from a small island.
And the animal uprising may not have started there yet.
No, it's like maybe the cockatoos are just nice birds.
Maybe they haven't gotten the memo yet to start uprising. Maybe they're just status quo right now.
That could be it. Claire, I appreciate that. If you don't have ketchup chips where you are, Claire, let us know and we will get a bag sent out to you.
Man, we're not made of ketchup chips here. We don't have that in the budget.
I'll cover it. That made me laugh. It's well worth it. Let's move to, I don't know, let's go to your backyard. Travis in Sydney wants to ask us a question about weather that we may or may not remember. Listen to this.
Hello, my name is Travis from Sydney, Nova Scotia. I was just listening to your Keep Canada Weird for August 6th, and I heard you were talking about hail and how you've never seen it in Nova Scotia, bigger than the size of marbles. Well, I just wanted to say, probably 2008, there was a random hailstorm in the middle of June. I'll never forget it because I was sitting in my living room and all of a sudden it sounded like these golf balls were hitting off of my windows. And I go outside and there's hail, probably the size, maybe a little smaller than a golf ball, maybe on par with a golf ball, pun intended. But yeah, it was. You were saying you don't remember that, and I do vividly remember that. So just wanted to get your feedback on that, if maybe that rings a bell around that time frame. So yeah, let's keep Canada weird.
Was it Travis?
That is Travis. Long story short, do you remember that hailstorm?
No, it never happened.
Fake news, Travis.
Yeah. I think those were just your neighbors shooting golf balls at your house.
Yeah.
Is what that was.
It was exactly what that was. Or marbles, I guess. There was his neighbors just chucking handfuls of marbles at.
Yeah.
Prick neighbor Travis is always playing racquetball.
He's always playing pickleball.
Pickleball, yeah. Yeah, that was. I don't remember that. I think it's fake news. It's either Travis was set up or it's propaganda from Big Weather. trying to get us.
Yeah, big weather. The Weather Network is trying to explode any story, make it bigger than it was.
And they're using us.
Or it could have been a dream. Travis could have been asleep and dreamt this and thought it was real.
But I was in Sydney all of 2008. There was not one hailstorm. Didn't happen.
No.
Okay, this one I want to start by apologizing for the quality of this recording. I blame it on when you go to nighttimepodcast.com/contact, you have the option to record a voice memo. You hit record and it just starts recording and it sends me it afterwards. But every so often, it kind of just sounds sketchy or weird things happen. In the case of this message from Timothy in Arizona, who's calling in, it seems like there was a bit of technical problem. So if you can hear past the technical problem to the words he's saying, this is an important message. Listen to this.
Hello, Jordan and Aaron. My name's Timothy. I'm a longtime listener. I live in the state of Arizona, and I have two stories that are relevant to what you were asking about. So just a couple weeks ago, it was 112 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly 44 degrees Celsius, and sunny, and about 5 minutes later I was outside with my dog and a storm came over. A monsoon is what they're called, but it was hail, and we did have not golf ball size but pea size or marble size, right between marble and pea size, and it was just unbelievable. Dented my car, hurt my dog. I saved my dog, but I have welts from it, ran inside. The better story, though, is I have a neighbor was growing this big garden that he had spent all year or however long it takes to do this massive garden. Well, he had a desert tortoise come in. One night, the tortoise ate his entire garden. I mean, everything. And then dug a gigantic, massive hole in his yard and burrowed in there to hibernate or something. And it's a protected animal, so there's nothing he can do. He can't even go near the area where the tortoise dug the hole. So, cheers.
The tortoise. Nothing he can do. Ate his entire garden. Left this guy hungry in the middle of a desert, and then the city ties his hands behind his back by saying you can't even go near that tortoise or your old garden or your backyard.
Yeah, it's a great strategy by the animals to get themselves on the protected animal list, and then that way the humans aren't even allowed to fight back. And great strategy as well for the tortoise to cut off the food supply to the human. Starve them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
great stuff.
It's
the animal overlords are always at work, taking us down piece by piece.
That sucks. Arizona's done. They lost. They're out of the war against the animals.
Yeah, sounds hot there. My God, what did he say?
Said 44. If that's right, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is intense heat.
So imagine it's 44 degrees. All right, that's so hot. Hotter than I've ever seen it in Nova Scotia, for sure. Hotter than I've ever experienced. It's that hot. Hail comes in the form of a monsoon that's somewhere between a marble and a pea. His dog's outside. His dog is hurt, so he runs out to rescue his dog in this heat. He's running back carrying his hurt dog from the hail while getting slammed in the back. He gets inside. He has welts. It sounds like hell in Arizona. And then this weird turtle eats all his neighbor's food, and the government won't let him do anything about it. I hate Arizona.
Yeah, I'd rather live in Tasmania.
Easily. Oh, the cockatoos leaving you little gifts and these
absolutely
smart, intelligent birds. Or do you want the turtle that you can't?
Yeah, move to Tasmania, my friend. There's no uprising going on there.
No, it is a peace-loving place. Animals, humans living happily together. They don't even have social media there. That's why I think Claire didn't send a voice memo. They could only do email, maybe. Yeah. They don't have TikTok. None of this Borax nonsense.
No, love Tasmania. The more we talk about it, we should start recording that.
Yeah, I'd go.
Live from Tasmania. Keep Canada weird.
It's us and Claire.
Yeah. We talk about the Claire uprising.
Yeah. Not uprising, just like the Claire like status quo of happiness in Tasmania.
No, it's just the uprising is her just getting mildly irritated, trying to write a letter.
Well, I think we've done our job here. Is Canada maybe a little bit weirder after this talk?
I don't know if it's weirder, but it's definitely we've shone a light on the weirdness.
Journalism.
We've exposed more of the current weirdness that is always out there.
It's called journalism, baby.
Yeah, it's just called being nosy.
Let's wrap this up, Aaron.
Yes.
But before we do you want to call out to listeners to provide feedback for anything specific next week? Like, is there something you want to hear from people about? Is there something you want to know? Is there a reaction or a hot take you think you need to get?
I want my Canadian listeners to go on Amazon Prime and start rewatching the entire Degrassi series. I recommend starting with Junior High, but I've been doing it backwards, starting from the movie and then going backwards. And to our international listeners, familiarize yourselves with Degrassi.
Okay. Well said. Let's wrap it up with that. Until next time, Aaron.
Jordan, until next time.
I think I asked you before, like, you should get on TikTok. I rescind that. I do not think you should. Dangerous.
Okay. Well, and I'd like to say until next time, we'll be on the new planet. We're going to call it Tasmania 2. And it's going to be me and you and a bunch of Claires and cockatoos.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mandate to keep Canada weird, but let us also call out to you for even greater support. If something weird happens in your neck of the woods, we want to hear about it and talk about it on the show. As well, if you have any thoughts, opinions, or feedback about the stories we talked about tonight, we want to hear about that too. You can send us a voice memo at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. We both hope to hear from you. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up things here, but before I do, let me first give some thanks. First, a big thanks to Aaron for sharing another evening with me and with you, the listeners of Nighttime. A big shout out to the internet's favorite cult leader, Unicole, who provides this series' intro and outro voiceovers. And lastly, but by far most importantly, a massive thanks to each and every one of you listening to this show. Without your interest and your support, the Nighttime Podcast would be as pointless as it would be impossible. Now, on the topic of support, let me thank the newest subscribers to the premium feed. Wendy, Jason, and Christina, thank you for going premium. And for anyone else who'd like to support the show, you can do it in a variety of ways. First of all, a premium feed subscription only costs a couple dollars a month and both funds the creation of the show while giving you the episodes 2 days early, giving them to you ad-free, and giving you access to a full back catalog of episodes. If that sounds good, you can go premium right now at patreon.com/nighttimepodcast. And even if you don't want to go premium, but still want to support the show, you can give us a big hand by simply sharing this episode on social media and letting all your friends know about the work we're doing here on Keep Canada Weird. Again, if anyone listening has any story ideas or wants to give feedback, go to nighttimepodcast.com/contact and let us know. But until then, I hope you all take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and remember to let us know if you see anything weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.
The free cart convoy rolled in here Tuesday at 9 a.m. Walmart did not like their parking lot being shut down, and yes, they did ban me. Probably not a surprise, but that is not going to slow down the free cart convoy. They'll be rolling back in, we'll be rolling back in Tuesday at 9 a.m. with our demand that they remove the paywall from the carts and we give them their parking lot back.